Welcome to Bay Rats and Buoys with your host, Captain Gaige.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. I'm your host, Captain Gaige. This is episode number 27, kicking off season number 2, brought to you in part by Cito Huntington. Are you a member? Visit Cito.com to join today. And the Long Island Fisherman, my favorite magazine to get in the mail. Make sure you get your subscription now. And Clicks Fueling. Visit clicksfueling.com. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I am super excited. We launched the boat. Like I said, we tuned it up on Sunday. There's no better feeling than starting that thing up, seeing the telltale piss nice and strong, and here we go, bug, 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 bug. And we launched it on Monday down at the Mill Dam Ramp. The water temperature back there was 52 in the harbor, fluctuated from 50 to 52. And once we got out into the bay, it was a consistent 46, 46 and a half throughout the day. I think the highest we saw anywhere in any of the back bays may have been like 48 degrees. So that cold spell that we had the week prior definitely didn't help us with those 30-degree nights. But the good news is, moving forward, this weekend's going to be warm, and the following week, it looks like the nights are going to be 50 degrees, at least to high 40s, 48, 49, and start to stay around 50 degrees every night, which is really going to help that temperature kick up to that magic number where the striped bass start to feed. Now, on Monday, it was kind of cool. As we were heading out of the harbor, we saw Dave honking his horn and flying by us, heading out for work. So that was cool to see Dave out there. And as we were heading into the back bay, we had a father and son coming out. So I yelled over to them, they were not too far away from me, and I yelled out, "How big was they? How big were the bass?" And I think they held up the sign that they had a goose egg. And the young captain, which was great to see, asked, "Are you Captain Gaige?" And I was like, wow. He picked me out, from 50 feet away, which Kory's like, uh-oh, here we go. Anyway, we were heading into the back. They were coming out. And I got to tell you, we went all the way back into 3 feet of water. Now, you got to remember, Saturday we had the full moon, which was, it's also called, this time of the year, it's also called a pink moon, and that's because of the flowers in April. The phlox flowers that are pink. That's what it's named after. But it's also nicknamed the micro moon because this full moon was the furthest it's going to be away from Earth for the year 2025. And I think our next full moon is going to be May 12th, and then after that it's going to be June 11th. So that didn't help in the back bays there because the water clarity was not good. We were in 3 feet of water and we couldn't see down to the bottom. We could not see, and that's because you got that stronger tidal coefficient with the full moon, and the water's ripping, and you got more sediment, and the water was definitely a little dirtier than we would like it to be. So that's going to dictate what colors and what you're throwing at them in situations like that. Now, I was throwing in the beginning, in the springtime. Again, it's the first trip out. I told you what I like to throw, whether it's a half-ounce bucktail or a swim shad. And we wound up hooking up on the Yo-Zuri 3D Minnow. That was getting the job done. We happened to catch a nice 29-inch slot fish that we tagged and released. You see it here in the video. You see it if you saw it already in my fishing report for the Fisherman magazine. So I submit my report every Wednesday. And if you guys want to see days that we go fishing, we're putting whatever we did. So on Monday, we went out fishing. That means Tuesday on my personal Facebook page, we'll put the video up from the day before fishing, letting you know where we were, what we were using, and this way you guys can have an idea of what's going on in the area. You can get out there and get on some fish. Or just like that father and son, they're coming out of an area we went into, we caught fish. We found them stacked up. We did not see a lot of bait. We did see a lot of jellyfish, which I'll show you guys here on the sonar what the jellyfish look like. You can kind of see everything's kind of like on an angle, and you can see they have the tentacles coming off of them in the sonar. So they're pretty easy to detect, but you just look over the side of the boat, you see these things. They're the size of my thigh. I mean, they were huge. And we didn't see a lot of, we didn't see any silver sides. We didn't see any bunker. We just didn't see any bait. But we did find some stacks of the bass. And when we did, that's when we stopped and we threw into them. And the Yo-Zuri 3D Minnow was getting it done. So maybe now the father and son could go back in there if they weren't throwing that and they were throwing what I was throwing, the swim shad. Swim shad was not working. It wasn't getting it done. So you got to change it up. And here's another, little springtime thing that we like to do. Me and Kory will have 8 rods on the boat. There's the 2 of us, but we have 8 rods. And there's a reason why we have those 8 rods. We got all kinds of stuff already tied up. You don't want to have to get out there and tie something up when you see something going on or you want to react to a certain situation that you just witnessed and you saw something in the water. You don't want to have to go hook up and put something else on, because by the time you do that, you missed it. It's already over. So we like to have 4 or 5 different things already tied up and ready. So we got the swim shad, we got the bass assassin, you have the SP, you have the small smack it or a super strike, something small. You want to try to be matching the hatch and throw different stuff, or like the Yo-Zuri 3D Minnow, so that you want to mimic some of the silver sides and the bait that these fish are feeding on. Again, 46 degrees. It's starting to get to that magic number where they're going to start to feed a lot more. And it was great to see that they were at least chewing in that temperature, which was real cool, because the year prior, it was 6 degrees warmer where we were. It was 52 degrees. And, that's a noted difference now in the captain's log. And we kind of expected and anticipated that with the cold winter that we had, where the bay actually had frozen ice on it. And, if you get a lot of rain, you're going to, there's a lot of things that come into effect and play a role in what's going on. And just like the moon plays a role in the tide and the tidal coefficient and what the bottom's doing and the sediment that's getting kicked up because of the stronger tide. Remember, we're a mud bottom, so this isn't the a sandy beach on the South Shore where you're going to see blue water rolling out there at Shinnecock, and it's a little bit different. So you got to judge your colors on that, just like the guys that are in Raritan Bay. They're going to want to use different colors because the color of the water is different over there. And, that's what you learn over the years. So I try to pass some of that on. Have different stuff tied up. Have different colors ready to go. Because if one thing's not working, switch it up. Don't continue to use the same thing that is not working. All right, that's not going to help you catch fish. So if you got out there and you fished all day and you were fishing 1 or 2 things, like right away, we're already 2 people on the boat. We're throwing 2 different things. We're going to be, and if we're throwing the same thing, we're throwing 2 different colors. You want to see which color is going to work, and then if nobody's getting hit, switch it up. Put on something else. And, and then when they're chewing, we do the same thing. We're throwing different stuff because we want to see what we're going to, get them to react to. What's getting their reaction the best. There was a day we were using flutter spoons and we had 30-pound fish under the boat stacked up. From the bottom to the boat, they were stacked. And me and Kory, the minute we were down, the rods were bent under the gunnel of the boat, and it was just like unbelievable. But one person on the boat, Kenny, was not hooked up, and he had on a silver flutter spoon. Gold was getting crushed. Silver, they didn't take it as fast, and they weren't hitting it, which was crazy because there was so many of them. You would think you would have put a sneaker down with a hook on it. And so that's what you learn. You learn that colors do matter. That's why they sell 4 or 5 different colors of the same lure. 10 different colors, 12 different colors, and we love, as fishermen, we love to have all of them in our arsenal. I know I do, but it's also having that arsenal ready so that it's a TA clip and it's a quick switch, boom, off, click on, throw, and go. So that's my mentality when we're out there, trying to keep the boat as tidy as we can be so it's easy to maneuver around. Kory got this fish, this 29-inch fish, he had a small lure. And again, we mentioned we don't really like these treble hooks. And I'll tell you why. I love a BKK hook. So if you can give me a Nomad or something with a BKK hook, I absolutely love those single hooks. Much easier to get out of the fish. But again, if you only have one of those little small trebles in his mouth on the side and the other two hooks are not in the fish and it's a small hook, Kory didn't feel like he had hooked this fish great. So that was his concern as the fish walked him around the boat. However, you'll see we landed it. We get it in the net. We tag it. We release it. We let it go. And you got to understand that, you know. A lot of times you hook the fish, you got to realize whether it's hooked good. Did you set a hook? Did you not? You know, singles, trebles. I hate using those trebles. I really do. I love single hooks. That's the reason I love using super strikes and lures like the Nomads because they have the single BKK hook on it that we do love. And again, we tagged this fish 29 inches. 28-inch fish is about 6 years old, so a 29-inch fish is between 7 and 8 years old. My guess on this fish was a holdover fish in the area, and we named it Lloyd for good reason. And so when you tag the fish, you're going to see on the card. Now, we're going to teach you guys in future videos the whole process of how we're tagging. In fact, we're in the middle of making a custom piece so that we will now be able to, you'll see in the video that I put up here from Monday, you know, we have it on the floor on the measuring device. That's the longest tape measure that's on the boat, that's on the floor. It's a 48-inch measuring device that's already on the floor. So you put the fish down, and you already have the measurement of them, and Kory's putting them down on that. I pop the tag in them. Kory picks them up, and we release the fish. That's it. It's that simple. So we're actually making a device so now we could measure, tag, and while we measure and tag, we will have a very accurate weight of this fish and not using a boga grip, guys, because obviously if we're tagging and doing all this for conservation, it's never good to hold a fish up vertically. All right, you want to support the fish from the belly and hold him up, and you know, you don't want to wipe any of the slime off of him. That's his protective coating. So, you know, don't touch it with a towel, don't hold it against your shirts. And so all of that comes into play. That all means something. There's a reason for the slime and why they have the slime on them. And when we tag it, you know, so in this case, I'm putting that tag right behind the scale so I can get under that scale and in. You could remove the scale, okay? So you could use the tagging device, okay, to remove the scale and pick the scale up and lift that scale and pull it off. Or you could just get under that scale, which is what I did, and popped it in. So we're going to teach you that process of how to tag it quickly and get rid of it. And now all the information's getting put on the card, okay? You don't need to fill out while the fish is on the boat. Tag it, get it off. And, you know, we'll do a torpedo. We'll do a whole bunch of different releases. I can't wait till we get something worthy of me jumping in, and the release is going to be me and the fish going in the water together. So we're going to make some really cool videos this year. We have a bucket list of things we're doing, and for good reason. We got big things happening in 2025 for 2026 already. So Bay Rats and Buoys really has some, you know, plans for the future and stuff that we're doing. And this tournament was just the beginning of it. And that's the excitement level of it, you know, the tournament. We didn't even get into the tournament yet. We just got into opening day and giving you some advice on what we're doing and what to throw out there and what we were using. So speaking of the tournament, we got to give a big shout out and a thank you to Matt over at J&M Seafood in East Northport. He is the grand prize sponsor for Bay Rats and Buoys' first annual Striped Bass Invitational going down Sunday, June 22nd. That'll be 11 days after the June full moon. And you'll see, we're going to have some ads coming out for the month of May. You'll be able to scan at the end of any of these videos that you see. Guys, go register your boat. As you're dropping them in the water and you're running and you're good for the year, because I understand you don't want to sign up for a tournament because your boat's not even in the water yet. You didn't get it running. What if it's not running? What if something's wrong? You don't want to sign up for the tournament early. But I am going to throw this out there. The first 25 people that do register get the sponsored product bucket that we're giving away, and you're going to want to register early because I think come June, we may have to shut off the registration because we have stuff to prepare and give out to everybody. We need to know the numbers early. It's helping us because it's our first annual. So help us. Help us do this so that we can do it right. We don't want to miss anything. We want to make sure everybody has the right measuring device that we're going to give you, and we're going to teach you at the captain's meeting how the tournament's going to run and how we're going to do it. So that it's real simple. It really is. It's as simple as sign up, register online, come to the captain's meeting, meet us at the Lighthouse on Sunday, June 22nd, at the time that we do set. And we may change the time in the captain's meeting, so all that matters. But in the meantime, register, captain's meeting, see you at the Lighthouse Sunday, June 22nd. It's that simple. Hopefully you win, and there's a lot of prizes and a lot of great products that sponsors are giving away. So trust me, you're going to want to get involved. If you have a company that you want to sponsor the tournament, again, it's the first year we're doing it. It's a great time to jump in because this tournament is only going to grow and get bigger. And we started out because we wanted to do private and small. We were going to do 10 boats and be happy with 10 boats out of my marina and just do a local little Huntington shotgun tournament. We meet over here. We go out. Who catches the longest fish? We had no idea Bay Rats and Buoys was really going to blow this thing up. We really didn't, but we did, and it's fun. So we're running with it. We're doing it. It's happening. Enjoy it. Register. Come compete, because the trash talking is so real. Big Joe just called me. I got to call him back. I was in the middle of recording. I can't answer the phone. I feel bad. The good news, Joe, is I did get your anchor. So I saw it. It's there. It's in the office. And it was great. We launched the boat. We came down to the marina. I ran up to the office, grabbed my stuff, some extra stuff that I needed. And me and Kory headed out there. And, man, was it great to be on the water. We bounced around into a couple of different spots. I was checking the water temperature. I never even ventured out into the sound. We were looking around. We didn't see any bird activity. We did see some bird activity a few towns away. All right, so I did see it, but I wasn't going to go run to it because we wanted to work our back area because we do know where the fish are. We do. And as I headed into the back area, like I said, the father and son were coming out. And it was great to see a young captain at the helm. So kudos to Dad, letting his son drive the boat and learn how to do it all because that's what I'm all about. And I actually yelled over to them, how big's the fish, How big were they? And I think Dad held up a goose egg that they didn't get any. We went into the back. We found them stacked up in certain areas, and we went all the way into 3 feet of water. This time of the year, I love going all the way into the shallows, working that, seeing if you can get some warmer water where the fish might be looking for the bait. And we didn't get anything back there. We did not. But right in the middle, where the water temperature was the same it was throughout the whole area, it really didn't fluctuate. You would think in the shallows it would have been, a little bit warmer. It wasn't. It was 46.5 very consistently. If it got to 47 anywhere, I think I saw 47 and 48 at one point. But throughout the bay, 46.5 was super consistent. Now, like we mentioned, the colors matter. All that stuff matters. And what you throw, how you change your stuff, get out there with an attitude that I got these 3 or 4 things I'm going to throw and try these and see what works. If you have somebody else on your boat, have them throwing something else. The two, you don't throw the same stuff. It's always good to try different colors. If one's doing white, one do chartreuse. If you're throwing something a little darker colored, throw something a little lighter. Give the variation and see what's working. That'll help you. If you have 4 people on the boat, use 4 different things. Someone is going to be hooking up. I had that last year. On the boat where there was 4 of us. I really wasn't fishing because they were tripled up. And now imagine the 4 of us, 4 of us all hooked up to bass. Who's grabbing the net? And Kory wasn't on the trip with us. It was just me and a bunch of guys from the marina. And it can get pretty hairy. So when that's happening, I'm out. I'm not fishing. I don't need to catch any more fish. I want to put these guys on fish, net it, release them, film it, make a great day out of it, right? Make the experience fun, and so that we're not all tortured. But guys were yelling over to us from other boats. In fact, one of the boats that we were chit-chattering with is the grand prize sponsor to the tournament. Matt and his buddy were on his center console. They were yelling over to us. I mean, we were just hooked up, trip 3 at a time, coming up over the gunnels, and we couldn't get them over fast enough. And it's just great when it's lights out action like that. But there was one lure on the boat that was beating everything else. And I showed it to you. I showed it to you in previous episodes. And if you follow along, when I'm using it this season, I will show it to you and show you what lures we're using, when we're using them, why we're using them, and how effective they are and why they're working so well. So that's the reason you want to tune in. Like Monday, we went fishing. Tuesday on my personal Facebook page, we posted the video for the people that are in my wheelhouse. You're in my realm, you're going to see the video. We showed you the lure we were using. We showed you we caught them. We showed you we tagged it. We showed you we released it. It wasn't even opening day, so Monday was the 14th. Tuesday it was going to blow. Wednesday it was blowing, so I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I launched the boat Monday, and I pulled it back out to drop it off and go get some upgrades done to it because I knew I had a couple of days of some bad weather and just wanted to it's running great. We had an awesome day out there Monday. Could I have stuck it in and left it in? Absolutely. But I felt it was a good time to get one or two things done to it because we had some inclement weather coming in, and I wanted the water to warm up a little bit. We are going to head into other areas west of us. So when we leave Huntington, we're going to head west. Speaking of east and west, we recently heard News 12 posted a thing that in Port Jefferson, they had some bacteria in the water in the harbor. So I joked around with, Captain Dave. I know he's in the area there, so I threw him a screenshot of that report, and I told him, hey, don't drink the harbor water, And he wrote back, haha, because he's not going to drink the harbor water, and I'm just being a wise ass. And that's what we do best. We're always breaking balls out there. In fact, he zipped by us, wailing on his horn. We were wailing back. And, that's opening day for us. There we are. We're out there honking horns. Everybody's happy to see one another on the water. We're back. We're at it. And there's nothing better. Really isn't. And, he even wrote to us, go get him, So I'm telling you all this because, this is what we do out there. There's a camaraderie amongst the captains, and it's not just Mariner's code, it really is. Just like I didn't have to yell over to, dad and son driving out of the area. I could have drove by and not look at them and not wave and be that guy, but that's not us. Me and Kory are real fun out there, and there was a guy in the Triangle last year, and I yelled out to him. He's on one of my favorite boats. I love Yellowfin. I love the sexy lines to it. I think it's a great looking boat. You don't see a lot of them up here in the north. I know it's down south. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people that do have Yellowfins up north. I'm just saying in my area, there's not a ton of Yellowfins. Okay, I only know of a few. And so I yelled over to them, telling them, yo, that's my favorite boat. I love it. And I pull up into Huntington Yacht Club, and the guy working the fuel dock's like, yo, Gaige, what's up? He's like, you were yelling over at my buddy, we passed by in the Yellowfin. I was like, oh, yeah, dude, I love that boat, And speaking of Huntington Yacht Club, Eric, I saw you posted your picture today. The Warriors splashed down. The Why Not is back. I did write a little message there. Always happy to see the beautiful 38 Outrage in the water. I love that boat, love captaining that boat. We go out a couple times a year where they hire me to take them on recreational trips and then fishing trips. Go for catch some bass and then hit lunch and hit one of the restaurants. And it's always a great day because Eric is a lot of fun. He'll tell you, he turns to me, he's like, Gaige, knock their hats off, and that means he wants us to go 55 knots. He wants to go 55 miles an hour. And, we got quad screw on the back. And it's a beautiful 38 Outrage whaler. What are you going to do? You going to say no? No, you're going to floor it and go. See you later. Bye. Wherever you want to be in 15 minutes. And a lot of fun. So great to see you in the water, Eric. And, yeah, that was my yellowfin story of, so we yell out to people. You'll hear me in videos talking to people that are next to us fishing. And, that's what it's all about out there for us. So if you see us out there, you can say hello, throw us a wave, talk to us, get us on the radio. That's something else we're going to do this year. So, especially for the tournament. Tournament's going to have its own VHF channel that we're going to, obviously going to be on all day if you need, this way guys can talk back and forth and smack talk could happen. And, people can lie about what they caught and what they didn't. There's going to be a live leaderboard. So it's going to be awesome. You're not going to have to rush back in to weigh a fish and get to a weigh-in station by a certain time. You're going to be able to fish until the cutoff time of the tournament. Literally, up until that minute, you can catch a fish that wins the minute before the tournament ends because you don't have to fly back in. You'll be. I'm going to teach you at the captain's meeting how all that is going to go down. Very excited and a lot of great stuff happening, guys. And like I said, even for 26. Bay Rats and Buoys has some really, really big news and big things in the works that we're already working on for next year. That's how big it is. And, we thought the tournament was going to be like, oh, my God, we're hosting a tournament. This is great. And we're already past that. It's 66 days away until the tournament. Guys, that's nothing. That's going to be here before you know it. And before you know it, it's going to be Memorial Day weekend, And, from there, we got 3.5 weeks until the tournament. So, geez. Holy cow, it's going to fly by. But so it's nice to see the activity really starting to pick up out there. We saw a lot of guys doing, test runs and trials, boat trials, taking the boat out for the first time. You could tell they were first timers out there, and some really beautiful boats, no doubt. I think we had an Intrepid out there with us. That was a real nice boat, real beauty, and great to see. So, and there were a lot of guys running out into the Sound. This guy's fishing, for more than just striped bass right now. And, soon, before you know it, it's going to be fluke season. And we're going to be fishing for everything this year. We are. But we're predominantly targeting the bass. So we got them on the first day. That's always good for us. It's a great sign. We love that. And it's even better when, when me and Kory go out, we don't like to troll, right? We want to go find the fish and fish them in all kinds of, jigging them, flutter spooning them, top water, swimmers, you name it. We're trying everything to get them, to make some videos and show you guys how we catch these fish and why we're so consistent at finding them and catching them. So, I could show you the stack of them, and it was a small stack of fish. It wasn't like the screen was lit up and we were like, oh my God, this is, we found them and we knew they were there. So that's what made us stop in that area, and that's how we caught them. So I'm going to show you how we did that and why it works and how you can do it and what are some of the telltale signs to look for them and where you want to look. So, electronics does help. And I did say to you guys, I kind of stuck to my guns there. I did everything I told you guys. I had loaded up all the apps. In fact, because of Bay Rats and Buoys, because I have a podcast, I'll be testing a few new apps that were sent to me and giving a trial to use them and see if we like it. So I can't wait to report back and see how it goes. Pretty cool. But that's what happens when you have a podcast and you host a tournament. Good things happen. And we're doing good things, banners and signs, ads are coming out in the magazine. So if you have a tackle shop, we're going to be dropping off stickers for the tournament. And speaking of stickers, my daughter did give Mark, the security guard, an envelope with a bunch of the stickers in it. So that was great. We don't like to not send anything out. I think we did. We may have just gotten the wrong address. Who knows what we did? I tell people, I'm just a captain. Jesus. Enough with the website and the updates and the videos and the camera and the audio and the GoPros and the drones and how much more do I need to do? Jesus. And the marketing. Geez, next Tuesday I'm podcasting live at Oheka Castle, for a business podcast. It's awesome. I'm just saying. I like to just say, I'm just a captain. Leave me alone. That's it. I just want to catch fish. Could you leave me alone? Let me just go catch fish. Who's with me on that, And so it's great hearing from guys that, Mike just reached out to me asking me about the Coast Guard because he wants to get the vessel safety check. I reached out to the Coast Guard, was setting up the time and day to do it. And once I put the boat in the water, I'll have them come down to the marina and do the vessel safety check there. Like I said, in fact, I got the part. It's in the house. I ordered the nav light. I want to replace my starboard side nav light, and obviously I'll switch both of them and switch up to LEDs. Everything's LEDs these days. Years past, I took all the lights off the top of the boat, off the bimini, any of the deck lights, and put on everything LED and much brighter, less power, everything. And Gabe will come down. He's, reinstalling a few things and, fixing things up. And, it's a boat, guys. There's always something to do. You guys know what I mean. Some of you have been working on your boats all winter. And, I don't have the luxury of that. It's wrapped up on the side of the house. So it's not like I could put it in a shop and sit in there and work on it all winter long. Or it's small enough. For some of you guys have small enough boats, you put it in your garage and you can work on them all winter, which is kind of cool. It's a nice winter project. Anyway, there's always something to do on the boat. That's for sure. But we're working on being ready to throw everything. So for the next trip, the rods will be all tied up, TA clips, leader, and boom. Click on 4 different things, 8 different rods. I got 4, he's got 4, and we're going to get out there and see what's catching them the best and show it to you and show you how we're catching them, what we're catching them on, and why we were where we were fishing, so that this will hopefully help you guys catch more fish this year. You're going to look for the silver sides in the bunker and any and all of the bait that is out there. I'm just not naming everything because I'm just going through it and telling you that we're going to go on the next trip and look for the bunker pods. We're going to go look and see if we could find some April bunker pods in our area and see what's going on. And that's that. We'll look for the bait. We're going to look for the birds. You don't always see bait and birds. Like we didn't see any bait and birds on Monday. We saw none. I saw jellyfish, which I'll show you on the screen here. The whole screen was lit up. You look in the water and boom, there they are, little pink and orangey looking, umbrellas floating by with tentacles. And some of them were big, like the size of my calf. They were huge. And we were hoping to see some bait. This time of the year, I like to put the GoPro down and see what's down there and see what the bait, see what the bait's doing. But because of that moon that we had on Saturday the 12th, that tidal coefficient is ripping and the water's a little dirtier, all that comes into play. So I give it a few days, let that water clear up a little bit, and put the GoPros down, and let's start to see what size bait is there, what's swimming by, what's happening. I like to put down some surveillance cameras and see what's happening in certain areas. Really cool. And it's always great to see the footage, because when I scan through it, I can scan through an hour of footage pretty quickly, and, when you see something go by, you could stop the scan and we've seen schools, there's big schools of bass, tog, everything, both together. I've seen porgies, tog, and bass all hanging around together in an area right in the harbor. It's that simple. So 46 degrees. We need these warmer nights. This week into next week. You got a very warm weekend now. The forecast is Saturday on a holiday weekend. You're going to see hundreds of boats in Raritan Bay. It is going to be, I'm going to guess, and somebody post a picture, somebody show me a video, because I'm not running to Raritan Bay this weekend, that's for sure. I'm going to wait for them to come my way. I always do. We will head west, me and Kory, the next couple of trips, but we're not going all the way to Raritan Bay. There's no need. We catch 30-pounders and 40-pounders here in no time. So, because of this weekend, you're going to have hundreds of boats there. It's going to be a zoo. So somebody take a picture of the zoo and post it and tag me, say something, and see if I'm right, because it's going to be 78 degrees on Saturday. And just consider, keep the UV in mind. That's why I tell you. Tides with the number 4, fishing, very accurate. It was very accurate on Monday, telling me what the wind was going to be. It was spot on. It told me when the wind was going to change direction, and it did. And I'm glad I didn't go further west and make a turn and get out there, because I could have been caught in some conditions that would have been, a little gnarlier than most. Not the most fun day to come back in, especially around some of the points in my area. So you have to know what that wind direction is doing and what the conditions are going to be like. Now, I'm out there so much that I know what those conditions are going to be like just from the forecast. I've already been in them. I've already driven the boat around and been through it. I've gotten caught in some serious weather, and sometimes the weather turns, sometimes you make it back, sometimes you get caught in it, and you just got, that's what makes a good captain. And, hopefully you don't run into trouble. But there were some days out there that it was absolutely, not worth going fishing where we went. I mean, it was because we caught fish, but we probably should have kept the boat where we were and not tried to get back around. You get back around some of these points, and, use Comstead as an example. It could be 6 footers there like nobody's business. And you could have left. It could have been flat glass, and you come back to the rolling sixes and picking up. So you don't want to get caught in that. And the wind changed. I mean, it was chopping the harbor coming back in, when we saw it. And the wind direction really totally changed the opposite direction of what it was. It was out of the west all day, Monday. And it changed. It was like out of the southeast and or southwest. It changed. And I got back, I looked at the flag, and I was like, wow, can't believe it. So you got to know what the weather's doing. That's why I tell you the websites. You got to know your Navionics. You don't get into trouble out there. So download Navionics. I used it. I can show you my whole trip, and I record each trip that I'm out. So you hit start, and when you get back, you hit stop, and it'll record your whole entire trip, everywhere the boat went, give you your average speed. It'll tell you all your nautical miles. You can mark things along the way, what you did, so it's real easy to keep track of a trip. And I try to document every trip. This way, for the captain's log, it's easier to see where we were, where we caught them. And obviously, taking the videos and doing what we do makes it a little easier for us to remember, because now we can just go back and look at Facebook and look at the pictures and the videos, and we see, just scroll through your phone usually, right? And you're seeing all the videos and the pictures. But we're trying not, like this year, we're not going to be using the phones a lot as far as taking pictures. Everything's going to be done with the GoPro, so it's quick and easy. Catch, net it, dehook it, tag it, measure it and release it, and we're measuring it and tagging it at the same time. Now we're working on measuring, tagging, and weighing at the same time. So that's going to be epic for us. Just to add that, listen, you can guess the weight of a fish. You can. The weight is really not that important, but having the detailed information as for the bigger fish that you catch is pretty cool. And especially when you get to those 50-inch fish, and, whether you're 47.6 pounds or you're 50 or you're 55, you want to know those bigger fish. And we got it dialed in and figured out. Me and Kory are a well-oiled machine. And I can't wait to show you the craftsmanship and what we're making, so that you can see what we design, what we use, and how we use it, and how it betters our fishing for conservation and doing what we do. So head on over to Striped Bass Invitational. Sign up for the tournament. Big shout out to the sponsors. You guys are in all of the ads. So if you've sponsored the tournament, you're in on the marketing campaign. All right, you're going to be on the banners. You're going to be on the cards that are in the tackle shops. And we spoke, getting calls from a bunch of the tackle shops. They're asking for us to drop off the stickers and the tournament information. And so now you're going to start to see the banners and the signs and the windows and the cards and the stickers at the tackle shop. So get those registered boats, jump into the tournament, get involved. This is going to be an epic Sunday, June 22nd, a competition for conservation. The tagline for the tournament is tagging and bragging, and that is exactly what we are all going to do. We're going to be tagging fish, and there's going to be 12 people, maybe even more categories as this thing grows. But right now, there are 12 prizes, 3 of which our grand prizes, cash payouts, thanks to J&M Seafood over in East Northport. We thank you, Matt, and your awesome team over there for getting involved in making this tournament epic. And he wants to get involved in all facets, so it's really cool. And there's a lot of guys that are reaching out and saying that to us, that, like, what can we do? How can we help? How can we get involved? How can I sponsor? Can we do this? Can we? So it's great. It really is. And guys want to buy, tumblers and things to put into the buckets and add all kinds of products. So it really is like Tony Maja, and there's some big names involved, guys. And it's really cool for a first annual tournament. It's going to be a super success. We're very excited about it, and we hope you register and join us for this fierce competition with a shotgun start right out of Huntington Lighthouse. And the Latin longitude are actually in the ad. They're on the website, so just head over to stripedbassinvitational.com. You could always get stuff by scanning the QR codes in any and all of my social media and all of the videos. Follow along at Gaige Simon on Facebook because I will put videos up there first. Those people that visit Sand City Charter and my Facebook page usually will get the intel the day after we are out there. The only people that will get it while we're out there are the ones that are following us live on TikTok. So when we do go live, TikTok, Sand City Charter, I think I'll put that feed up here with a link so you guys can tune in and see what's going on out there. So next week we'll be out there and we'll show you what's going on. Hopefully, I'll be out there this weekend. I know I will be. Probably going to be on a different boat. Unless I get mine back tomorrow, I have no problem being out there this weekend, but I already have plans and have been invited on some other boats, which is the norm this time of the year. And throughout the season, I do get asked to come fish on other people's boats because they want to learn with their equipment and try new things. And a lot of times it's better to do it on your boat so that I can work with what you have as opposed to you on my boat working with what I have, because then you might have to buy stuff and whatnot, which you may have to buy stuff anyway for your boat, I'll show up. I show up with some really cool stuff. So we're going to go look for the fish this weekend for sure. So hopefully I see you out there. Again, thanks for tuning in, guys. We love you. We love our loyal listeners. I love seeing you guys out on the water yelling over to me. Hey, is that Captain Gaige? I can't believe it already. The first trip of the season. And I got some young anglers out there that watch Bay Rats and Buoys. And that is super cool that we're hitting the hearts of the younger generation and hopefully inspiring them to become captains or inspiring them to just be great anglers and do the right thing by our amazing fishery and work with us on the conservation of making this iconic fishery grow and become the best it can possibly be for years to come. And we're going to end Season 2's episode number 27 on that note, because that's a real good note to end on. Wishing everybody bent rods, tight lines, and I'll see you out there this weekend. Catch them up, everybody. Captain Gaige signing off. Over and out.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. Be sure to visit sandcitycharter.com and follow Captain Gaige on all our social media channels.